can you all give us a sense of where you think we are in the market cycle? Are we going to bounce back quickly? Are we going to be down for a while? Nanda, do you want to start off?
Well, hi everyone. My name is Nanda Ivens. Apologize for my disco ball head. No, my thinking is that, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of analysts, and I think the market is going to kind of be a little bit like this for at least, another year, right? So the recovery is going to be slow because there is geopolitical issues at large, and these factors are, previous bear market, these geopolitical factors are not at play. But now you've got inflation and also war, unfortunately. That's going to kind of hinder. Although, having said that, you've got a huge increase of user and coiners or crypto enthusiasts in the past 2-3 years. Even in Indonesia, it's grown from less than 2 million people to 15 million people in the last 2.5 years. But that doesn't mean that the market is going to recover sooner because of that.
Okay, Rich?
Yeah, so that didn't sound very bullish, but I'm probably significantly more bearish on what's going to happen in the next couple of months. There was a time that geopolitical tensions and all this stuff was actually good for crypto, and I think crypto has been in line with the markets, and that relationship has been inversed of late. I think the market would, I'm pretty bearish on what's going on. I think there will be more deleveraging out of crypto, and and because of that and the lack of new money and new projects in this environment, there'll be less use cases, and a lot of tokens with promise of new technology probably would not deliver, and that would probably cause more downside over the next 12 months. And I think that what would really help it recover is actually new innovation, new technology, or new area that would bring in a net new group of users and net new money into the industry. And I don't see that happening over the next 6 months. And so I do think that we are looking at more downside from here.
Okay, thank you. And Mia?
Yeah, so I'm not a trader, so difficult to say these macro timing things. So, but as a VC, I would say I'm extremely excited for bear market because I think historically, if you look at past few cycles, some of the greatest companies are built during the bear market. So before Dragonfly, I was a founding member at Amber Group. I joined them when there were like 10 people back in 2018. It was also kind of the similar now, like market crashing, and now they're like $3 billion company, one of the biggest. They're also here in Singapore. So I think the bear market is great for people who are really fundamental and builders, really focus on building, and will be the catalyst for next next wave of adoption. Okay, nice, thank you. All right, so we have the poll. I guess we can do just some results now. We have 63% saying it's geopolitical tension that's the biggest risk to wealth creation, 26% saying market volatility, and 11% saying cyber attacks. So there you go. We have geopolitical tension is what people think is the biggest issue. Okay, now let's see. We've heard a little bit of caution from big institutions about getting into crypto, and it sounds like you all think the near-term outlook is pretty cautious as well. But would you have anything to say about the caution of getting clients into crypto? Do you think now is a good time to get in, or is it a time to hold off? Mia, could you start off? Sure. So to give you guys a little bit background about Dragonfly, we started in the middle of 2018. And our first fund was 100 million, and after that we launched 2 other venture funds. We recently just closed a $650 million fund backed by institutional LPs like Temasek, Harvard Endowment, etc. So I think our first fund was mostly high net worth individuals who are very much interested in checking out, hey, what is this whole crypto thing, Web3 thing? But looking across our duration of our history, we're really seeing this institutionalizing for both like crypto native financial institutions and as well as like LP interest is really picking up and seeing more institutions allocating to asset class as a whole.
Okay. and Rich.
Yeah, I think that from an institutional client perspective, one thing the crypto market really needs is a good custodian and a good structure to hold assets on behalf of clients. I think a lot of the issues we've seen is that crypto is a very unique asset class where the exchange, the broker, the custodian, and all that is essentially just one company. And when you're managing a fund, you hold your own assets in your wallet, and no one really knows exactly what you have or what you're doing. So, I do think that crypto has a lot of innovative aspects, a lot of great technology, but I think that a lot of the industry has to move and learn from actually why traditional markets exist, is to provide good transparency to end users, to clients and investors. And having a great custodian is a good example of something I think we need. Over at Paxos, we provide crypto brokerage for guys like PayPal, Meta, Interactive Brokers, Mercado Libre, and guys like that. And that separation of who's owning the assets, who's holding it, what are the best executions for it, and that gives comfort to people knowing that the assets are held in custody in segregated accounts. So is the cash. For our tokenized cash business, we hold $20 billion in tokenized assets as a custodian on behalf of clients. So I think that separation generally from the traditional wealth management industry is extremely important, and I think that the next wave will see more people choosing to have a separate custodian for transparency, and so that clients know that someone's holding their assets safely and there's no excess leverage in there.
All right, Nanda, your perspective?
Personally speaking, you buy the dip, right? So, at the moment, it's kind of the great crypto sale. Yeah. So, I personally, as a trader, I do actually buy quite a lot at this point in time. But at the same time, looking at the other businesses within our group, whereby we do invest in new projects that's coming about in Indonesia. It's also a good time to invest into Web3 companies, right? Because at the moment it's only supposed to go up from here, and at the moment there's a lot of projects that are needing funding, and also what's going to happen in a year's time, 2 years time. They'll gain in valuation, they'll gain in their brand awareness and all that. So. Yeah, personally, buy the dip. And if you have more money, invest in Web3.
All right, thank you. Up only, right? No. So, okay, have you seen any particularly innovative or effective approaches to wealth management as it relates to crypto and Web3? I guess, Mia, is there anything that you have seen that you think is really useful or good idea?
Yeah, I guess definitely the formation of like these crypto native wealth managers and neobanks and financial institutions being one. So I think my last company, Amber, is one of the examples there. So I think there's definitely a lot of like infrastructure around managing a novel asset class, and I think that's when the company, started by 6 traders coming out of Morgan Stanley Hong Kong, saw this void to be filled, and I think they were able to build out a very nice kind of on-ramp, especially for high net worth individuals. And obviously, you also see these exchanges as on-ramp, like in Indonesia, in Turkey, and recently I invested in a company in Latin America. So these geographies with the need to, for retail to allocate to crypto, I think there will be this type of like on-ramps that are set in place to welcome that adoption.
All right, thank you. Rich?
Yeah, I think that we've seen a huge growth in the number of funds interested in crypto. I think that's a good thing. More importantly, the level of sophistication, the level of technical work that's being done, and the number of people who believe in technologies and hold for the long term as opposed to what it used to be in 2016, 17. I think that's grown a lot. So there are a lot more opportunities to invest in funds, and there are a lot more people who understand and do research. I think the 2 areas that would be interesting in this building phase in the bull market, I think the infrastructure. for what new chains would look like and what could power the metaverse. I think what we have in existence and the chains being used right now are probably a little slow, a little less well built. I think that's an area of interest. I think the social aspects of it and building beyond NFTs for the metaverse is also an interesting area. And I think that wealth managers should be looking at those two areas as the new growth when we get out of this bear market.
All right.
I've seen the rise of crypto asset management in Southeast Asia. I mean, even Indonesia now has got like 2 or 3 crypto asset management. I just think that for institutions and also for individuals, that provides an alternative in terms of investing into crypto. But as Mia said, investing into Web3 projects is also something which is interesting because there's so many things. It's like a blank canvas at the moment, right? There's so many ideas that's happening. I mean, I've had conversations with people going, hey, can we do utility-based NFT or IP-based NFT and all, selling golf memberships using NFTs, right? So, I mean, there's so many ideas coming out there. I mean, I'm not just talking about NFTs, but as Rich said, on protocols and those types of projects as well. So it is kind of like, it's really exciting place to be. So, yeah, I think there's so many options at the moment in terms of investing into crypto and crypto-based businesses and projects.
Okay, well, how do you feel that funding is holding up for things like that? Are we at kind of still a point in the cycle where there's demand, or has it really dried up?
Definitely not. I mean, I've been advising the first crypto VC or Web3 VC in Indonesia called Cydonia, and they did a capital call in like $100 million in less than a month and a half. So, I don't think there is a lot of interest for Web3 projects, especially when there's positive and good deal flows coming through those VCs, those Web3 VCs. So I don't think, I think it's quite exciting at the moment. I'm sure Mia and Rich could attest to that.
Yeah, I definitely don't see for good projects like you mentioned, for people who are building real teams, good technology. I definitely don't see capital drying up. It does look like, and I agree with that, there are a lot of people looking to deploy capital into it. Obviously most VCs would invest for a longer term, and I think the bear market is not something that has deterred them at all.
Mia?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add. I think definitely we're seeing more and more institutional funds coming into the space and backing fundamentally sound technologies and teams. And I think bear market is a good time to really, see a lot of the froth and the hot money is getting washed away, the weaker hands are getting washed away. I think these are a good time for us, who we invest acyclical. So I think this is a great time for us to be deploying.
All right. So what is needed to kind of take Web3 mainstream, or is it mainstream? Are there any holdups to it? Nanda.
I mean, I'll take an example of like metaverse, yeah, like specifically for Indonesia as well. I mean, everybody's talking about it, but nobody really knows how to do it. One of the barriers of entry for the user is that an Oculus, the hardware is actually quite expensive, and you've got let's say, well, there's a future Baliverse or Indonesiaverse or whatever, Metanasia and all these kind of things. But, how many Indonesians can actually afford a $400 and $500, Oculus set, right? So the hardware becomes a barrier of entry into that. So once, the hardware becomes cheaper, then people are going to use it. But I say specifically for Southeast Asia, it's probably going to be like 3-4 years time. But invest now, because in 3-4 years time, that's going to boom. So yeah, I'll use that as an example. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe.
I think the two areas that would help us get to mass adoption over the next 5 years or so I think one of them is having big existing platforms, fintech players, come in a bigger way and provide their infrastructure to help people, buy and own crypto assets, and through that, they can form greater communities. So I do think that we'll see more large, well, not traditional firms, but large internet companies offer crypto as a product, and that would basically help it easily get to mass market, right? So, obviously, the large exchanges have huge user numbers, but then the average person would rather use an existing app to buy and be part of the crypto market than have to understand and hold their own keys. So I think getting mainstream companies involved is really, really important. I think the other area is that we thought gaming would bring the mass number of users in. That didn't pan out too well. And we thought DeFi would bring in a mass number of users, and that happened. It turned out that it was a lot of money, but less absolute number of users. And when we look at what else would happen to bring mass adoption, I think social media is one thing that would be interesting. We thought NFTs would power that. It didn't work out. But I think the other aspects of getting people who use existing products and have crypto and blockchain involved in powering those technologies is a huge, easy way to bring in a large number of people, which the crypto market really hasn't seen to date.
Interesting, if I might add, on the gaming side, I said to a friend, they were building a gamify platform. I said, your game needs to be played on esports, right? You've got 60 million people in Indonesia playing mobile games every day, right? If that, if gamify, decentralized games, NFT games become part of esports, then it's really going to be disruptive, right? So mass adoption.
There you go. Mia?
Yeah. So I think a lot has been said about like infrastructure, like user experience. But I want to particularly highlight the importance of content. I think that's also where I'm most bullish on Asia being, the king of content around gaming and art, fashion. I think a lot of these needed to be brought into, Web3 in order to really make, how do we bring humanities and how do we make this space warmer and more welcoming? And I think that's what I think Asia being especially the pioneer also in global payments, right? Like, we're seeing the leapfrog from, in Web2, and I think this digitally native global payments infrastructure that's already in place. And secondly is, I think Asia has a lot of vanguard in terms of like products with like social commerce. Like, you see products like Douyin has demonstrated this like two-way interactive community-driven commerce. And I think in last cycle, we've seen that with NFTs, particularly I think the digital art, especially generative art, it has shown this 1.0 of like what this could be, right? If you guys, I don't know how much you guys like are into generative art, but like I encourage you guys to check it out. It's I've been collecting pretty actively, but really it's this, we're seeing this virtual tribe or community being formed, and you really see this interactive circular type of collecting experience. And obviously there's trading and there's flipping, and that's the nature of being part of crypto, but also we're seeing like new archetypes of like users are showing up, right? Like people are owning digital assets for the love of it, and I think I would love to see that expand across more cultural verticals.
I would add a quick point to Mia's comment on payment rails and payment companies in Asia being very efficient. I do think that within the next year or two, we'll see a large number of payment players be involved in just starting, and not something that will be very volatile, something very boring, but basically having stable coins. And stable coins within traditional fintech plays, and a wallet in an app that you use and everyone has, will basically enable people to enter all the other things you mentioned, art and gaming and all that, and giving people stable coins so that they can participate in that widely. I think we'll see that very, very soon, and I think that would help bring in a lot more users as well.
Yeah, definitely stablecoins have become a lot bigger even recently. So I guess one last thing, we don't have a ton of time, so maybe 30, 45 seconds on what we can learn in terms of investing in crypto and Web3 from the crypto winter, the meltdown in recent months. You know, what are the takeaways, Nanda?
Buy the dip, invest, invest. But also, I mean, at the same time, I think everyone needs to educate themselves, right? I mean, that's the one thing about you know, adding to what Rich said, mass adoption is about education. It's not just users that are buying crypto on crypto exchanges that need to educate themselves, but also, you know, institutional, they need to educate themselves as well. So it is about educating yourselves in order to, you know, make better choices in terms of your investment, basically.
Okay, thanks.
You know, Paxos was founded in 2011, so we've been seeing this up and down for many years for various reasons. From the outside, it just seems like a crazy, volatile thing. But I think from the inside, it's always been led by a new belief, new innovation, a new technology. Ethereum, you know, led to a lot of great things. DeFi led to a lot of great things, some particularly bad things, and you know, GameFi and all that as well. And I do see us building that technology. So I think that you know, a new wave, a new interesting technology that creates a large number of users is what will bring us back.
All right, thank you. Mia?
Yeah, I would say participate. So, you know, I think a big part of crypto is, you know, being part of a community, right? I think obviously a lot could be said to be, you know, allocating Bitcoin, part of your portfolio. I won't repeat that, but I think really if you guys, you know, looking at what is happening right now with, especially with like, you know, fine arts, I think that's the very first sort of vertical getting, you know, disrupted by crypto. You know, I've been to like art fairs like Art Basel in Miami last year, and really just seeing this like digital renaissance movement happening. And so I would really say like, you know, participate and try it out, collect some art, collect some PFPs, and yeah, try it out.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Nanda, Rich, and Mia. I think we have to leave it there, and thank you for listening. Appreciate it.